we need to do everything. When I would say that the places that we've been successful in pushing against it, in Santa Clara County, state of California, even the University of Minnesota, at least it's been stalled. Where we get the ear of legal counsel and they have an opportunity to hear what our concerns are, and they're being presented in the way that lawyers talk to each other through legal memoranda with citations of past cases, showing precedent, evoking legal principles. They're listening. So I don't want to paint a picture of like gloom and doom in terms of the legal process. However, the legal process can work slowly, and the courts aren't completely immune from politics. So there are some unknowns, but I think it's important that when and where the right cases come up, where all the technicalities are met, we need to consider pursuing legal action. And that's definitely something that's on the table for CSU, given the fact that it's a state university. In terms of education, not only, I think even before we go and try to educate Americans at large, one of the things that we've done at HAF is started a How to Talk About Caste Dharma Ambassadors program, because as we're talking to people in the community, people are stumbling over their words. They'll say things like, well, we have these 4 castes, or we have thousands of castes, or they talk about caste as if they know what they're talking about. When you really ask them, what do you mean? Everyone is saying something different. The fact of the matter is that even when the British took their census starting in the 1800s, that was the same case. We are trying to force fit indigenous identities into now what today is a legal administrative category under the laws of the modern nation state of India. However, from a sociological, anthropological, or historical perspective, no one agrees on what caste is. So I think it's important that we understand that and not go around talking like we know what caste is, because that could undermine. If someone goes and says there's 4 castes, well, then what's to stop a university to say, okay, these are the 4 castes, and that's not what caste is. And there's plenty of scholarship that's out there. That scholarship gets buried under the orthodoxy, which wants to present caste in this colonial framework. So I think I would encourage people to take that course. I actually just gave it this Saturday. And so that happens on a quarterly basis. If you don't have time for that, there's a lot of resources on our website that are intended to be an introduction to the topic. We too are on our own learning journey, and there's a lot more that we don't know than we know about caste. So I can plug those resources, but would encourage people to begin learning and not presume that we know what we are talking about when we're talking about caste.
Yeah, I will not take too much time on this. I'll let people ask questions if they have any, but I'll just suggest everyone, not suggest, but advise everyone that if your children are going to college, please take the time to get them introduced. We might do one more orientation this year. Actually not, we will. Please send them there. We'll talk to them about what are the issues and what do we need to teach them before they go to school so that they don't get swayed away. When I talk to the Indians, people even in my generation, they say, yeah, caste-based discrimination is there. They immediately accept it. And I have to tell them that there is a difference between what we call legal discrimination, like Suhag outlined right at the beginning, and having preferences and prejudices, whatever you want to call it. That's all fine. Well, it's not necessarily fine if it's a prejudice, but it's not illegal. And don't be so apologetic about what we have, that, oh yeah, we are this and we are that. Also, distance yourself from what happened in India versus what is here. We do not have the same problems that are in India. India definitely had a problem. Those problems are more pronounced in rural areas than in the cities. But because of the selective absorption process, this has been a very different story in the US. We don't have those issues. We don't ask anybody's caste. But in India, you're right, it will happen. So just don't generalize what you saw in India as being true here. Always cite the Carnegie study. We have a selective absorption here, and here we do not have We have left it in India. We have not brought it with us.